Okay, so let's talk about your program 2 assignment. Let's see, I'm down here. So if you go down to programming assignments and look at program 2 states, that's the one we're working on. All right, so there's 4 different files there. The first one are the instructions. So I'm going to load that one up. And we'll come back and look at that in just a second. The second file says state capitals. And that's a list of all the different 50 states in the United States and their capital city, just in case anybody needs a refresher on those. If you're like me, you kind of forget some of them, like what's the capital of Missouri? It's Jefferson City, right? It's not always the biggest city like St. Louis or Kansas City or something like that. Right? Which is kind of weird because Kansas City, part of it is in Kansas, but the big part of it's in Missouri, right? So anyway, and the next file says state list. That's a list of all 50 states and their 2-letter abbreviations, okay? Just like Texas is TX, right? Yeah, and Washington, D.C. is in the list as well, even though technically it's not a state. Washington, D.C. is not technically a state. But for this program, if you want to include it, you can as well. So if you include Washington, D.C., there'll be 51. And then the last file there, it states algorithm. That's actually a C++ file, source code file, to help you get started. So I'll go ahead and load that up, and what you can do is you can copy and paste that code into a compiler. So if you're using Dev C++, you can just copy that and stick it and paste it in a new source file. If you were using code blocks, you'll have to create a new project and then copy and paste all this code into that main.cpp source code file that it creates for you. Okay. So let's look at the instructions. So this program kind of combines everything that we've talked about so far, and there's a loop in here as well. It's just one loop, but we'll talk about that next time. Write a program that will read a series of 2-letter abbreviations from an input file. And so eventually you'll want to have all your states, all your abbreviations in there. So your input file is just going to be a list of 2-letter abbreviations. That's all that's in the input file. Okay. The program should do the following. Output the state abbreviation, the full name of the state, the capital city, and the region of the state to an output file. Okay. And this doesn't really correspond to anything real. This is just something that I made up. And there are 5 different regions. So we have West, North Central, South Central, Northeast, and Southeast. And you can see the divisions of the regions down in the map. So here's I just drew this with a marker at one point in time. And so the West are states like Washington, Idaho, Utah, Arizona, California, and so forth. Hawaii and Alaska are also in the West. Okay. North Central has these guys, Montana, Wyoming, you can see the boundary line, Illinois. South Central has Texas, Colorado, Kansas, and so forth. You got your Southeast. Northeast includes Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, Virginia, and all of your New England states as well. So some of those New England states are kind of small in the map, so hopefully you remember enough about your geography to remember that states like Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont, those are up there in the Northeast, okay? So the state names, abbreviations, and capitals can be found on the attached sheets, and the division can be seen in the map, right? The program should also keep track of the number of states in each region and the total number of states read, and output a summary at the end of the output file showing these statistics. So here is examples of input and output files. So suppose you had this input file, AK, CT, DE, TX, and so forth. But now eventually, remember, you're going to have all your states in your input file. But just suppose you had these 4 states, your output should look something like this. So you're going to have one big table that has all the states from the abbreviations. So notice each line is a different state. So we have a state number. So there's a variable that just keeps track of what state number you're on. Here's the state abbreviation that you're already in. Here's the state name, the capital, and what region it's in, right? So if you have 50 states, you're going to have 50 lines in this table. Also notice there's headings at the top of each column. And then at the end, after that big long table, you're going to have this second table, regional summary, where you have all the different regions, west, north central, south central, and so forth, and the number of states in each region, and along with total states. Okay? So that's how the output file should look. And so to help guide you, I have this code, right? So where was it? Back over here. So I'm just gonna grab that real quick. So I would copy it, and then I think I had dev on here, didn't I? Here it was. I'll just use the dev compiler real quick. New source file, paste it. All right. So that would give you a starting point, right? And the first thing I would do is come up here to the top and put a block of comments, just like you normally do. Don't forget to do that. So again, you'll include things like your name, what program this is, what compiler that you're using, and a few sentences to describe what the program does. Okay, so I've already written a lot of stuff for you. So here's all your include files: IOStream, FStream, IOStream, and string. And here I already declared all your variables for you. So these string variables here, state is your state abbreviation that you are reading in. And we're going to kind of reuse the same variables over and over again. So you have your state abbreviation, your state name, the capital, and the region. So those are strings. Then here's all your counters: west, north central, south central, northeast, southeast. And state number, it keeps track of which state you're talking about, and then total states. I would probably end up adding all my region counters to get the total states. And then I have a lot of comments in here. So anywhere you see a comment, that probably means you need to write a statement or a few statements to accomplish that. So declare files. So you need to declare your input and output files, and then open your files. And then output the headings for the main table. That's the column headings up there that said state number or whatever, and then that dash line. Those are just a couple of output statements. And then get the first state. I went ahead and did that for you in file state. And then we have this loop with this crazy nested if statement in it. So this thing is going to be long. What I would suggest is just get it working for maybe like the first 10 states before you try to expand it out to all 50 or 51 if you include DC. All right. And so first thing is increment the state number. So that's easy. You would just do, what was the variable? State number plus plus, like that. State number, yeah. And then I started the if statement for you. If state is equal to AK, you're going to do these things. State name is equal to Alaska, capital is equal to Juneau, region is equal to West, and then increment the correct region counter. So Alaska was in the West, so you want to do West plus plus. Else if state is equal to AL, state name is equal to Alabama, capital is equal to Montgomery, region is Southeast, and increment the Southeast one. And then I have a few here where I just kind of left them blank, so you can copy and paste that and add them. And the last one will be at the very end. You'll have this. So this else will by itself will have to be the last one. Else state name is equal to invalid state, capital is equal to invalid, region is equal to invalid. Then after you get that, at the end of your loop, output one line of the main table. So you're just going to output state number, state name, capital, region. And so I already wrote that. You'll have to go back and add some set widths in there to get things to line up. But that you can do that at this point. And then get the next state. So I've already written a lot of this for you, but you'll have to go back and add stuff. And then after your loop, you're going to calculate the total states. Like I said, I would just add up all the region counters. And then output that region summary at the end, showing your region counters, and then close your files. So I've already written a lot of it for you, so just use the comments to help guide you. Does that make sense? All right. And I haven't set a due date for that yet. Let's say maybe 2 weeks from today. How about October 16th? Let's go for that. Yeah. Very good. I'll see you on Thursday. On Thursday, we will do the Chapter 3 quiz, and we'll start talking about loops.